How about that? Welcome to the show. It is episode 54. So we began the show with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you were a child of the 80s, you will remember the wonderful chocolate bar that enticed us all from 1982, that was. And year was celebrating 40 years on. I thought it's a nice advert from the commercials to remember from British television. And when I was a kid, I was just, well, I won't tell you how old I was. I was a very young, terrible twos then. And the world was my oyster and everything was new and exciting. And when we just had the terrestrial channels, just BBC One and BBC Two and ITV and Channel 4, that was it. There was no cable, no Sky, no, all of the things that we have today, Virgin Medias and Sky and everything else. Well, in those days, the good old days, it was just 4 channels and the whole world tuned into the similar things. And that advert was just one of those memoirs of my toddler years, and a great one to open with for episode 54. Yes, we're at Studio 54 today, and episode 54 of Monday Musicality, and now Tuesday Tunes. Welcome to the show, gang. I hope you're all well. We had a great time down in St. Leonard's last Friday. I was a little bit raspy. I've had a touch of laryngitis, actually, from last weekend. I went out and had a few too many beverages the Friday before last after a very, very tough and trying time. But it took its toll. There was a time when I would go out all partying all night or all weekend, as we did back in the day, and then get up bright and early the next morning for work and be fit as a fiddle and ready for love. These days, it takes a few days or a couple of weeks to get my voice back on form, but this is why I don't go out drinking till all hours of the morning like I used to in my infinite and wonderful wisdom of my youth. But every once in a while, after a tough day, we can go out and spoil ourselves. And as long as we replenish ourselves with all the essential vitamins and nutrients that we need and minerals to stabilize our minds and bodies and get our voices back on track. So you guys were absolutely wonderful at Forbidden Fruit. A really busy, busy night. And it's the first Friday I've performed with you all. The previous shows I've done with you have been on a Saturday night. And it was great to see the boys and all the staff. Thank you so, so much. And if you're in the St. Leonard's area or you want somewhere to visit, come the spring and summer, it's a great place. Down on the, right on the seafront, looking out to the beautiful views of the ocean and the promenades and some lovely quaint restaurants and food places. I actually had a bit of a dicky tummy because I'd had some chicken wings which weren't all that great. So that on top of a bit of a laryngitis, I struggled through the show, but you were very forgiving. I had to just lower my tones, darling. And it was nice. It was really, really nice. Not my finest hour, but you were all very, very accommodating and very, very wonderful. And as always, great mix-up of the characters and some new songs, and you were laughing and clapping in all the right places, so I assumed you all had a ball. And I had a great time. I was just a little bit softer toned than normal. But so if you get down to the Forbidden Fruit anytime to see a huge variety of different drag artists and singers and bands and quiz nights and things like that, they're currently refurbishing the kitchen for roast dinners and things like that. So it's a great place. And I'm very, very much looking forward to coming back into the spring with my band. We're going to do a nice Sunday afternoon and with a bit of jazz and swing for you all. And coming back to do another evening on a weekend in the not too distant future. I'll keep you posted when I'm back, folks. But lovely to see some familiar audience and some brand new folks that I've not met before. So thank you very, very much. To see a nice full house is always a treat. So thank you very much, guys. Don't forget, we have the Black Balloon sessions, as always, each Wednesday at Back to the Belgrave on Albert Road. And weekends are opening more fluidly now. We're getting the better, brighter weather out of the stormy moments. And I'll be on the bar on some weekends for you as much as I will on the Wednesdays, and servicing your every need, as well as doing a few guest spots coming up soon. On March the 14th, we have another charity event which will feature Linda Bacardi, one of my drag sisters from the circuit, along with Champagne Shirley hosting and raising much needed funds for cancer charities, as well as other artists and people popping in to come along. The last one was great. We had a curry night. I think we're doing some party food, some nibbles on the 14th, but one for your diary, a note for the diary there. And some great shows happening as well on new theaters and on tour. The Book of Mormon is at the Mayflower Theatre in Southampton until the 5th of March. A great show I saw at the Prince of Wales Theatre in London a few years ago now, in the original London production. And Gary and I sat there in the mid-stalls, howling, hooting, and tooting and rooting, and absolutely, well, in hysterics from beginning to end. If you like dark humor and things a little bit close to the edge and a little bit un-PC, then you will love The Book of Mormon. A very, very funny show. And one I'm going to get along to see this week. So looking very much forward to bringing my family to see the show. And I know that it's going to be a great, great piece on tour. The Soho Theatre also is playing host to Shedding a Skin, playing all through March from the 2nd through to the 26th. Something a little different for you all. I had a great run last year in May, so get along to see that if you can. And also many other happenings in and around our fair land. Birmingham Pride is also coming up in September. We used to do the Pride events in May. That was always the first Pride of the season. But it's later in the year. Becky Hill, etc., and lots of wonderful artists, myself included, are coming back to Birmingham for the first time in a long while. And my dad actually grew up in Birmingham, born and bred in Birmingham. So I always like to come back to the fatherland, so to speak, to entertain and sing out Louise and see my old friends from the circuit and the scene and some good pals from when we had the joyful youth when some of the guys were down from Wolverhampton and Birmingham down on the coast working together in Portsmouth and Southsea as well as up in Brum. So looking forward to coming and see you all, Babs. And of course, many other happenings around the globe and in this tough time that the world is going through. Let's hope we can have a few moments of peace in this episode 54.
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. You'd be like heaven to touch. I wanna hold you so much. At long last, love has arrived, and I thank God I'm alive. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. Pardon the way that I stare. There's nothing else to compare. The sight of you leaves me weak. There are no words left to speak. But if you feel like I feel, please let me know that it's real.
our grand Dame Shirley Bassey with a beautiful rendition of Can't Take My Eyes Off You, the wonderful, wonderful tune. And the great Shirley Bassey, one of my idols who I feature in my cabaret show, to great homage, giving a Bond tribute here and there, and some of her best-known classics that we've belted out on stage and on screen over the years. And that song, as it's episode 54 today, I do this for my mom and my folks who have supported me through thick and thin, and whom without I wouldn't be here or have a career. So for the creation and the biological moments that you created all those years ago, the little bit of nookie that got me into the world, and the magical moments we've shared when you've nursed me, when you've petted me, when you've mourned with me, and we've been happy together, and we've been sad together, and we've been joyful and laughed at it all together. And the moment most recently when I was on stage at the Gaiety with my one lady show, one lady, one night, Judy, a tribute to Judy Garland, which we did with the Jazz and Swing Band back celebrating my 40th, and to have my mom in attendance with my dear friends and the lovely Pop, my dad as well, and a very impromptu moment. We did an encore, and my dad got up and sang that number with me, Can't Take My Eyes Off You, and we did a great duet for our friends and family, for our close friends and family, and it was glorious and a real nice moment to have an impromptu moment at the end of the show about telling all those that have been with us through the ups, downs, highs and lows, you really are too good to be true for supporting us through so much. And my mom especially, who was the backbone of my early days of being on the circuit, to when I didn't have a nickel to my name or a penny in my pocket, helped me through and got me on the open road and always supported me, and still does in tough times and in the good times too. And for that, I can't thank you enough. And of course, being episode 54, and for all the days that my dad emceed out in the clublands and DJ'd, and my brothers too, when they've DJ'd and partied on in the disco halls, and my mom's been one of the boppers from the Battle of the DJs all those years ago. Do you remember that? What fun we had with all the when my dad organized those events, and my mom was there bopping away and having a rave up. Well, that was an extension in the 90s, in the gay 90s and the noughties, from the wild 80s and indeed the heydays of the 70s at Studio 54. So I thought we would go back to those times. And, you know, my mom, I got my skills from dancing from my mom when she was a kid, and the winning the competitions at Butlins and things like that as a little girl. And, of course, and the wonderful days of partying on the dance floor. Here's a little bit of Viola. Miss Viola Wills, who I worked with in Brighton on one of my very, very early tours. I mean, I was about 20 years old, I think 21, something like that. And we got to work together in one of the clubs, which was then Club Fouque, F-U-K, as in French, French Connection UK. And we worked together all those years ago, remember? And in our heydays of trailing around some of our old stomping grounds, a great moment in remembering a diva, and a privilege and pleasure to have worked with this lady in the wonderful clublands, and to reflect on that grand Studio 54. When I was last in New York City, Cabaret was playing at Studio 54, and Rue, Al, my mom and I sat there, table down front, midnight show, watching a great cast. So this takes me back to those wild days of NYC and indeed Brighton, and working with Viola and having some good times, and many more good times to have. If you could read my mind, what a tale my thoughts would tell. This is a show I sometimes feature in my shows also. If the mood's right and the audience want this style, we go back to the disco era every once in a while.
So myself. And when you reach the part where the heartaches come, the heroine would be me. The heroine's walking back. You won't read that book again, because the ending's just too hard to I could reach all my love. I could reach all my love. I'd walk away like a movie star who gets burned in a three-way script and into number two. Movie king could play the scene, bringing all the good things out in me. But my love, that's me. I never thought I could feel this way. I gotta say that I just don't get it. I don't know where we went wrong, but the feeling's gone, and I just can't get it back.
The phenomenal Viola. You know the movie of that. The music video reminds me of the Magnum Club in Southampton and the Edge and the London Hotel. What a time we had back then as well. And of course, not only the 70s and Studio 54, but it reminds me when we ruled as we did in the noughties. We owned Clubland and our gorgeous days of Portsmouth and Birmingham and Bournemouth and Balts at the Opera House and Circus and Club Bent in Bournemouth, along with the great DYMK and what was the Branksome and 2930 and all those great places, along with, of course, the great heydays of Wild Fruit in Brighton, when I was Barbarella on stage with our sci-fi parties and, oh gosh, the Valentine's balls and the red parties, along with the themed Priscilla events and all the great eclectic artists that we had, from Shapeshifters to Gina G, and of course the wonderful Live in Joy and all the beautiful and wonderful people we've worked with and that have came and entertained the masses, as we all have over the years. Joyful to remember those days. And of course, to listen to the great vocals of Miss Viola Wills, fondly remembered in our beautiful, beautiful early noughties. The millennium had just began, and that's what we were belting out. Great times. All right, now for something a little more classic, as that was more the 70s part of the family tree as society and time evolved. A little further back in time, especially on the Wild West side of our family, and the John Waynes and the great Howard Keels, and as far back as all those moments of barnyards and rootin' tootin' horses and the roustabouts and everything else. Here's one when we have to hide away from the world. We're always blessed in those moments in the Wild West. On screen back in 1954, those 7 brides for 7 brothers.
Bless your beautiful hide, wherever you may be. We ain't met yet, but I'm a-willing to bet you're the gal for me. Morning, ma'am.
Morning. Mama, Papa wants you.
Bless your beautiful hide, you're just as good as lost. I don't know your name, but I'm mistaken my claim, lest your eyes is crossed. Oh, I'd swap my gun and I'd swap my mule, though whoever took it would be one big fool. Thanks, Adam. Or pay your way through cooking school if in you would say I do. Morning, ma'am.
Morning, backwoodsman.
Nice day for marrying. That's a right good idea.
Oh, Lem, I thought you'd never ask me.
Bless your beautiful hide, prepare to bend your knee, and take that vow, 'cause I'm a-telling you now, you're the gal for me. Pretty and trim, but kinda slim, heavenly eyes, but oh, that size. She's gotta be right to be the bride for me. Bless your beautiful hide, wherever you may be.
Wonderful, Howard Keel. And you know, the level of that bass isn't too far off of where I was in my octave range on Friday. But yeah, healing slightly. It's still a little bit raspy, but we'll get back to full voice and beautiful Broadway belt, honey. But from 1954 there, the great Howard Keel and the wonderful Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, which we have on schedule coming up in the not-too-distant future. 2024, celebrating the anniversary production, along with The Boyfriend that year, which will also be celebrating the 70th anniversary. And of course, as it's HRH's 70 years, it's good to mention some of the 70 moments as well. And talking of my mom winning the dance competitions that she did as a young girl at the Butlins, holiday resorts here in the UK, which are always ever popular, along with some of the other holiday camps from Havens and things like that. I thought this one, a nice link from Bless Your Beautiful Hide to Heidi High. Oh, the theme of that and the wonderful antics of all that went on with those wonderful yellow coats. And, yellow being the democracy and liberty of the land. It's a good coat to wear from time to time. I had my first show of the year down at the Dockyard Club this year, and yellow was my frock color. Yes, I had the yellows and silvers and whites, and a bit of sunshine to start the year for our freedoms and liberties. And I'm ringing that Liberty Bell throughout the whole of this year. I can tell you that much for nothing. So wherever you are, if you work on the holiday parks or the holiday hotels and camps, I hope you're all having a wonderful time and getting back to normal. And the entertainment and all the staff that work those great places. And all of us holiday makers that venture a bit closer to home, that don't travel abroad, or those that come and travel from abroad can enjoy the swimming pools and the great high days and holidays of Heidi High. A great British tradition for all of our British family. All right, and as I said before, I am British, actually, folks. It's just that I speak with my American accent for the years of that I've Americanized over many, many moons. So for all of us, our Cockney gals and gazers, and all of us Queen's high-toned cucumber sandwiches and crumpets, we're all here together and all part of one big, wonderful family. Despite some of our differences, we all get along. Some of our rules are very different, some of our laws are very different, but we all manage in the land of hope and glory quite well. And here's one from my burlesque days. And I've been speaking to my pal Tommy across the pond recently, who is a great, wonderful artist of the theater and dance. And we were chatting about projects in the pipeline, things we've been doing. I've not spoken to him in a few years. So we've been talking about the revivals that are happening. We've been talking about some of the original works and some of the new numbers that have been written, some of the exciting things that are happening. And going back to my burlesque days, because my show that's in the works that is now completed libretto, but the music is still being scored, we have been chatting about the idea for that. And it's kind of like a cabaret meets Goodnight Sweetheart meets burlesque combined with a touch of Follies in there. But a completely original book with completely original lyrics and melodies. It's going to be wonderful. So that is still happening, guys, for those of you that may have been pondering, but it just takes a long time to make some projects come to light. I mean, the original idea I conceived back nearly 25 years ago. So to put it into a full written process, I didn't pick it back up to work on until about 2 years ago. So it's taken about a year to conceive the book and get it all as the plot as we wanted it and everything. So it is going to be a great show. And I'll let you know when it's into the doing process once the music is completed. But we were talking about the burlesque days and when I first started on the circuit and trawling around from slapping makeup on in a corridor with a vanity mirror or in a disabled loo somewhere, putting on my scantily clad outfits and trawling out onto the stage a la Louise and those wonderful Mazappa strippers. Not that I was stripping it all off, but showing a bit of shoulder or displaying an ankle or shedding a glove. Something wrong with stripping? Well, back in the day, it wasn't so much stripping. It was more quick change city. And we would display the seasons, myself and my darling Miss Fifi and Dee Dee, those of you that remember that far back, when we were girls for all the seasons. And we had ice, we had snow, we had the foliage of the leaves of the autumn and the flowers in bloom for the spring. So as we're almost changing seasons from winter to spring, I thought this a nice one to remind us of how different all the seasons are. And what girls come out to play in the different seasons. And boys. And boys, of course.
In all their sweet perfume,
cast including Michelle Pfeiffer, Maureen Tiffy, and produced by Louis St. Louis. And of course, Judy's daughter, as I was mentioning my One Lady, One Night Judy show earlier, Miss Lana Luft, featured as Paulette in Grease 2. And just a few of us girls who are girls for all seasons. No matter what's falling from the sky, we'll be there. All right, a little bit of an insight into the wonders of the seasons, be it fall or autumn or winter, summer or spring. And now for another two gals who will be there through it all. And for when the moments the dark-haired girls aren't really en vogue and the boys prefer a bit of blonde, here is one of those two little girls from Little Rock when the gentlemen prefer blondes. And this I play for my sister-in-law, Jane. You know, we're a touch of the Marilyns that I can be and the Jane Russells that she can be. When we say, all aboard.
We're just two little girls from Little Rock. We lived on the wrong side of the tracks. But the gentlemen friends who used to call, they never did seem to mind at all. They came to the wrong side of the tracks. Then someone broke my heart in Little Rock. So I up and left the pieces there. Like a little lost lamb I roamed about. I came to New York and I found out that men are the same way everywhere. I was young and determined to be wined and dined and ermine, and I worked at it all around the clock. Now one of these days in my fancy clothes, I'm going back home and punch the nose of the one who broke my heart. The one who broke my heart. The one who broke my heart in Little Rock. Little Rock, Little Rock. Little Rock. I learned an awful lot in Little Rock. And here's some advice I'd like to share. Find a gentleman who is shy or bold, or short or tall, or young or old. As long as the guy's a millionaire. For a kid from a small street, I did very well on Wall Street, though I never owned a share of stock. And now that I'm known in the biggest banks, I'm going back home and give my thanks to the one who broke my heart. The one who broke my heart. The one who broke my heart. In Little Rock.
Oh, the high days and holidays of Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Of course, Carol Channing was the original Lorelei back in the 1940s. And Marilyn went on to play the role in the movie. And it reminds me of the year of 2009 in London, in the West End, when my sister from another mister across the pond in Oz and I, Miss Vanity Fair, lived in our apartment in Soho. And we owned those streets and the nightlife, I tell you that, at Madame Jojo's and at the Palace. We were the talk of the town. Memories, memories, beautiful memories. Think of you girls and think of our glory days, always. And on the subject of blondes, Whilst I was in town in 2009 to that season and playing 485 shows, 8 shows a week, 2 shows a day on a Thursday and Saturday for all those years. It's a surprise I've still got a voice, darlings, at all. Or legs to stand on, but we do. All those costume changes, all those wonderful, wonderful stage door Johnnies, and all the beautiful audience, and the baton at the conductor's table to begin the show. Well, plenty more shows and different things to play out for everybody. But across town, whilst we were at the Palace Theatre, at the beautiful Savoy, was Legally Blonde with the great Sheridan Smith. And we were partying in the same places after the shows and having a ball and kicking our heels up on the dance floor and ruling the land of London back then. Well, in my show, West Tendencies, which we had back in 2015, I had a great lineup of stars from here, there, and everywhere on shows I'd worked on over the last, 15, 20 years or so. And some of my sisters from the cabaret world, some of the great dancers from the dance world, and some of the greatest artists from the opera and musical world took part in that show. And the lovely Tanya Hyde, who sang this song in the show and told us that things were so much better than before. And I think they are in some ways. I think politically the world isn't always as much better than before necessarily, but sometimes we have to remind the world that to survive, to live, and to enjoy yourself, we have to be legally blonde. That's the truth. To have a full life in this day and age, you have to have moments where you just say, I'm having a blonde moment. So we're not going to play much better than before, but we're going to just have the moments of reflection. When we go in and out of town or in and out of a big show, back to normality or back to the small towns from whence we came sometimes, to then go back to the big cities and vice versa, and indulge in different moods, different attitudes, different lifestyles. And it's important to remember these wise, wise words. And the glorious Tanya plays out at many of the clubs down in Brighton and London still. A big hi there and hello to you, darling, and very proud of you and all that you've achieved, along with all of our sisters and misters out there in the land of showbiz.
And pack up the clothes, clear out the room and drop off the key, leave with what's left of my dignity, get in the car and just go, chalk it all up to experience. They said I'd fail, but I disagreed. Who could say then where my path would lead? Well, now I know. Back to the sun, back to the shore, back to what I was before. Back where I'm known, back in my home, very small pond. Laugh with my friends when I arrive. We'll drop the top and just drive. That's fine with me. Just let me be legally blonde. Thanks for your help and for all you've done. Thank you for treating me decently.
What's wrong?
Maybe someday you can visit me. Give me a call, say hello.
Wait, where are you going?
Sorry, I'm letting down everyone.
What brought on
You
this?
did your best with a hopeless case.
That's ludicrous.
You are the best thing about this place.
Well, you should know.
Callahan hit on me.
He what?
He kissed me. He fired me. There's no reason for me to stay.
What about love? I never mentioned love. The timing's bad, I know. But perhaps if I'd made it more clear that you belong right here, you wouldn't have to go. 'Cause you know that I'm so much in
Back to
love.
the sun,
the intrigue of a girl's mind or a boy's mind, or a relationship of how one city and a tale of two cities can lead to all sorts of wonderment. And, sometimes we are legally blonde, and sometimes I have to tell this to the legal folk out there and the solicitors and the lawyers and everybody else. Not everybody is a lawyer. Not everybody's a policeman. Not everybody's a soldier. Not everybody has the same mind as you. Some people live in the free, fresh world and freedom and democracy, and each country is different. Each rule in each country is different. We always have been, and we always will be. And as much as you can shove your legalities down everyone's neck and throats as much as you want, some people are different, born to be different. Some people, of course, try our best to not hurt anyone, not harm anybody, but we've all got to live and survive, and live and survive we will. But the words of Elle Woods there, and the glorious moments of Legally Blonde, which played out in many, many theaters across many, many years, has been wonderful. And it teaches the world that some of us are still blonde, honey. And some of us, still live in the wonderful, wonderful world as we once did before the world was shrouded in courtroom dramas. Anyway, we go on and remembering the wonderful moments of Legally Blonde, but in particular in West Tendencies, remembering Tanya singing so much better than before. And the world is so much better than before. And we live and we learn and we change as the world goes along. But some of us are born to stay the same, and Peter Pans and Tinkerbells float around the land. All right, onwards we go. Remembering some good highlights of our careers and lives, as well as some downtimes. And whilst remembering some of the highlights and the blonde moments and the hair and the hairspray, I don't often play hairspray, as we've played it out for many, many years. And it's been on screen, on television, on screen again, on stage again. And for those of us that have our Legally Blonde moments and our down moments, like the reflection of Elle, well, we have our moments of being big, blonde, and beautiful. Brian Murphy. I remember singing this out at one of our very early Pride events before I choreographed one of the new productions of Hairspray back in 2016. I'm going back about 13, 14 years ago, remembering the lovely Brian, who spoke a little like this and sang this out on the stages in Harvey Fierstein style. And, of course, John Travolta and the wonderful Queen Latifah in the movie, amongst many others. Well, here's a little bit of an insight into how blonde, how beautiful, and how big we really are. Just a little bit of Hairspray for you there. I know we've all heard it and seen it many, many times now, but it was nice to work on that show. Gosh, nearly 5 years ago. 16, 17, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, nearly 6 years ago. My gosh, where does the time go, huh? Madness. Anyway, onwards we go. Other shows to show you all. And the performers have many more parts to play for you outside of the Hairspray bracket. All right, but not to say we won't continue doing our corny shows on the circuit, etc. But here's a little more wonderful, wonderful moments. And I want to tell you also, there are some other great venues to visit. There's good food, and there's a lovely bakery in St. Leonard's I went to, which was really nice, just around the corner from the station. Got a nice cheese and onion turnover and things like that. That was nice. And also a lovely, lovely place down on Albert Road, which I haven't mentioned before, which is Gin and Olive, which is great food. I used to work there when I was a teenager, actually, when it was called Bubba. Many years ago. Well, it's called Gin and Olive now, and it's a nice little quaint establishment just opposite O'Neill's, which is another great, very large venue. Good pub with some good bands and things like that. And of course, many other great venues, our King's Theatre and the other lovely establishments in and around the wonderful city down Palmerston Road. The food fair is coming up in the not too distant future, where you get lots of different cuisines from all around the land, from Korean to Italian to, every part of the nations, to sample some different tastes upon our taste buds. And they've recently developed as well for the younger demographic of the world, and the moms and toddlers and dads and kids and things like that, which was the Pyramids Center, which was a swimming pool in our youth, has now been developed into a gym for the adults, and also the gymnasium, and also a huge adventure playground for kids as well. So I've not been in there, but I'm told by some of my friends and who have kids and stuff, that's what they've developed it into now. However changing some of our venues and places are, huh? And some other great highlights, of course. There's the skate park for those that will be spinning around and wheeling around when we get the rink happening into the late spring. And as fabulous as that's going to be, there's many more places to visit and establishments to kind of enjoy yourself in. And please, please try and enjoy yourself, guys, because we don't need the doom and gloom after everything we've all been through. So let's try and be happy, huh? Try as we may. And consider all things in life, from the different families, the different politics, the different artists, the different music, and consider all things. But most of all, and most importantly, consider yourself at home in my company.
What you staring at? Haven't you never seen a top? No, never. I'm sorry, I didn't. Oh, that's all right. Hungry? Yes, I am. I've come a long way. I've been walking for 7 days. Oh, been running away from the beak, have you? The what? Now, don't say you don't know what a beak is, my flesh plate. It's a bird's mouth, isn't it? My eyes, how green can you get? For your information, a beak's a magistrate. Who are you running away from then? Your old man? No, I'm an orphan. I've come to London to make my fortune. Oh, you have you? Got any lodgings? Money? Not a farthing. Do you live in London? What now? I suppose you want some place to sleep tonight, eh? Do you know of anywhere? As it so happens, I know a respectable old gentleman what'll give you lodgings for nothing. Really? I never ask for the change. That is, if any other gentleman he knows introduces you. And don't he know me? He must be a very kind old gentleman. Oh, yes, he's very kind. And I'm a particular favourite of his. Well now, if you're coming along, I'd better know who you are. My name's Oliver. Oliver Twist. And mine's Jack Dawkins, better known among me more intimate friends as the Artful Dodger. Pleased to meet you, Mr. Dodger. Sure the old gentleman were kind. Mind. Consider yourself. yourself. One of the family? We've taken to you. So she's gone. It's clear we're going to get along. Consider yourself. Willing? Consider yourself. Part of the furniture. There isn't a lot to spare. Who cares? Whatever we got, we share. La 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 la. When you try to be your appetite for all. Only twice to be handy with a rolling pin when the landlord comes to call.
The camaraderie, the wonderful world, the glorious Charles Dickens' tale of Oliver Twist, which became Oliver in 1968, one of the best movies of the screen, and of course Lionel Bart's wonderful music and lyrics, who of course wrote the Blitz as well. And although the working title of my show is The Blitz Glitz, a completely different show with different ethics and different part of the Blitz mentality. But Oliver of 1968, and indeed Oliver on Stage, as my mom and I went along to see at the Palladium when I was just a kid, I think maybe about 13 or 14 years old. And we sat in the beautiful stalls of the London Palladium and watched the great Jonathan Pryce or Russ Abbott was playing Fagin at the time, and one of the most beautiful and wonderful sets I've ever seen on stage. We loved it. Mom and I absolutely adored it. And a show I've not worked on yet. It's on the to-do list for a few years from now, but a great show. A great, great piece. And of course, the wonderful artistry and choreography of that great show. Consider yourself. And I sing that in my cabaret shows as part of my Liza Minnelli medley sometimes. And it's great to reminisce, isn't it? Those glory days of London with all of the fruit sellers and the, which is part of my family tree, of course, my grandpa's family tree, as fruiterers that we were. And the milkmaids and flower sellers. Glorious. London in all its glory, and same as our provinces and bigger cities such as Portsmouth, where we've lived out similar stylings. Wonderful. And of course, Portsmouth being the birthplace of Charles Dickens, it's great to look at our histrionics. And now to something much more modern and a great artist, Miss Robin S. And when we go through tough times and the city's quiet and our families are quiet and battening down the hatches and not seeing as many of our friends and family that we do in quiet periods of our lives, sometimes we have to play this out. And this is one of my mom's favorite songs, which is why I play it today in the 54th episode. Show us love. And as Robin S. said, show me love. And just a couple of days back, I went to see one of my old loves, bless his heart, who designed some of my costumes. And the lovely Gino, who I wore the necklace he created for me at the show on Friday. And whenever I wear one of his garments, I would like to pop around and say hi and share a bottle of wine and sit and chew the fat and talk about old times and share the laughs of the yesteryears as we did. So sharing some moments of love and friendship as well as the years progress. 1993, my gosh. an insight into Miss Robin S. there and Show Me Love. We all want someone who will always be there through thick and thin in friendship, in family, in relationships. That's life, isn't it? That's how we progress and share our wonderful knowledge and show each other our love over the years. And of course, it's great to listen to those 90s tunes when we were bopping around the dance floor and the wonderful gay 90s when everyone was gay in the sense of happiness in the world. Try and recreate those days. They were the best. I was there, and trust me, the 90s and noughties were the best. Okay, almost at the end of the show, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in on this Tuesday Tunes Midnight Hour show. I will be back next week, as always, to delight your ears with my tones and some of my music. And do join us at the Belgrave if you can. Drinks offers, as always, on house doubles, and premium spirits are available along with wines and draft lagers and bottled beers just from £3.90. And we have lots of wonderful music, DJs and parties at the weekend, as well as our great live artists and musicians on a Wednesday. So come and join us. It will be fun, fun, fun when the neighbors come. Like they did in the USA. Okay, so thank you very, very much for listening. It's always a pleasure to have you tuning in to listen to my wonderful words and to leave you today with a little bit of some of my other loves and friends. You know, we've seen and spoken to a lot of people this week, and some of my friends that have got the restaurants, Craig and Carl. I've not seen you in a long while. And as I saw Craig, I was thinking of The Baker's Wife, the musical, and Greg's Bakery, as I've known you to work in many years ago. And this song to thank you all for the wonderful times when we've shared apartments, when we've shared the dance floor, when we've shared the stages and shared the restaurants and bars and streets. Well, thank you. Or, as the French would say, merci. And as I am a bit of a mademoiselle, or a madam, in my latter days, this is to thank you all and to insight into something a little different. From the musical The Baker's Wife, I'm going to leave you this week with Merci, Madame. And I do thank you all. It means a lot to have you there, have you listening, have you chatting along to, and supporting where you can. It really, really makes a difference. Take care now, folks. Merci. Au revoir.
Did you hear that? She likes it. Did you hear that? Pom pom. Our darling says she likes it. Did you hear that? Pom pom. Can you see her face is shining and her eyes give off a light, bright as the moon is bright. Come take a little look at our bakery, a little look at our house. Other men might look at that sight and only see a house, but I can see some place grander than that Colosseum in Rome. Ask me what?
All right, what?
I can see a home. Merci, madame. Merci, madame. You make a home for us, pom-pom, and I agree, madame. Hard for a cat to show its gratitude, and so I am. Merci, merci, madame. Come on, pom-pom. I know exactly what you are thinking, exactly what's on your mind. You're looking around, thinking we found the best place we could find. But I can imagine some place I would rather be, it's true. Ask me where.
All right, where?
Here, a little closer to you to say merci, madame. Merci, madame. If you are there, then that is where I want to be, madame. Sit on my lap, and I'm as happy as a giant clam. Merci, merci. Here's a promise as we start our brand new life. From the village baker to the baker's wife. I will try to make you happy. I will try my whole life through. I will try to make each day
croissant, sweet and warm and light. Picture us dancing through the days to come, starting from tonight. I've got a little lift in my outlook, a little lift in my step. Darling, I'm me. When have you seen a man with so much pep? And suddenly I can do things other men my age can't do. Ask me how.
All right, how?
I caught youth from you. Merci, madame. Merci again. Look what you did. A magic kid, a 43 again. It seems your rage is as contagious as a case of flu. Look at this.
Stop!
Look at that. I've got a new life, a sweet wife, and someday, if maybe we could have a baby, what else is there to say besides merci?
Don't go on this way. I'm the one to say merci, monsieur.
Merci beaucoup.
The Baker's Wife, written by Joseph Stein and Stephen Schwartz. A beautiful, charming, wonderful show. And for the moments of all the bakers in the land, that one, thinking of you all, and all of those who are starting a new life together with a new business, or all the lovers in the land, I wish you happiness, I wish you love, I wish you success and good fortune and wealth and happiness. Until next week, goodbye, folks, and merci. Merci, madame and mademoiselles and messieurs. Bye for now.